Olivia and any other third graders that are going to be watching this for some assistance or help. I'm in the practice book. I'm looking at the reteach, which is 6-1, and we're using the distributive property, which means is we're breaking apart a larger array into two smaller arrays, and we're going to use two other facts to come up with the product of the larger fact here. So we have our two smaller facts, and we use the larger fact or the larger array to help us show the two smaller parts of our equation. So I wanted to start with number 2 since I did number 1 in class. I know that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, so I'm just going to write my equation as 5 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go ahead, come in. So we're going to do 5 times 6. That's my number of rows. This is my number in each row. So just to keep it on consistent right now, we're just going to worry about working with our rows. So we're breaking apart the rows, and this is going to be my first array, and this is going to be the factor of my second array. So basically, if wherever I want to place my dividing line, I'm going to look at the top array and I'm going to say I have 3 rows. That's going to be my first factor here in this equation. I'm going to put 2 rows here for my second expression. So this part right here is 3 rows with 6 in each row, and this portion or part right here is going to be 2 rows with 6 in each row. So now when I take 3 times 6, I know that 3 groups of 6 is going to be 18, and 2 groups of 6 is going to be 12. And when I take the 18 from here and the 12 from here, I know that this is going to be 30. Now, why are we learning how to do this now in 3rd grade? Well, in 4th grade, you're going to take it to larger place values. So for right now, you're learning how to use smaller factors, and next year you're going to move on to larger factors. So we're just getting you a head start on how to take apart numbers or factors in this case. Now, number 3 says Don breaks a 4x7 array. So the array is 4 rows with 7 in each row. So here's my 4 rows, and I have 7 in each row. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oops, 1 too many. And I have 4 rows with 7 in each row. Now, what it said was Don breaks the 4x7 array, or 4 times 7 array. That's the larger array, okay? He's going to break it up into 2 times 7 and another array. Well, 2 times 7 is this part right here. So that leaves me, if this is my 2 rows of 7, my 2 rows of 7, what's left from that 4 groups of 7 is another 2 rows of 7. So the 4 times 7 is the same as or equal to saying 2 rows of 7 and 2 rows of 7. Now, I could put a plus symbol here because that and means I'm combining them together. So 2 times 7 is 14, and this 2 times 7 is 14. And when I put my 14 and my 14 together, my 4 times 7 is going to be 28. So if I had my multiplication fact here off to the side, I could say 4 times 7 is 28 because 2 times 7 is part of that 2 rows here. And these 2 rows are part of that 4 rows here. And so I broke up the 4 rows as 2 and 2. 2 rows and 2 rows. So on the back, we're going to take a look at starting with the whole array. So I'm going to write a multiplication fact for the whole array. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 8 rows. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 in each row. And however I want to take this apart, and again, remember I like 5s. 5s are really handy. If I do 5 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm going to break these 8 rows into 5 rows and 3 rows. Now, since this is my first factor, these are being broken up into my first factor here and here for my smaller multiplication sentences here. So this is going to be 5 rows with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in each row. This is going to be 3 rows with 6 in each row. Now, when I multiply 5 times 6, there are going to be 30 objects in that top part of my array, and there are going to be 8 objects down here in the bottom portion of my array. And when I add 30 and 18, 30 plus 10 is 40, and 8 more is going to make 48. So I can place that as my product. Number 2, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in each row. I'm going to break it apart right down the middle. And when I say down the middle, that means I have the same amount on the top and the same amount on the bottom. Now, how I broke these rows up as 2 and 2. That tells me that my 2 rows and my 2 rows are going to be here in my first factors for those equations. So, 2 rows, 2 rows. Now I need to know how many is in each row. So, I know that I have 9 in each row. That's not going to change, and I'm not breaking up the parts that are that are in each row. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 2 rows of 9 on the top, 2 rows of 9 on the bottom. When I break this apart, it's 2 times 9 is going to be 18, and 2 times 9 is going to be 18. And when I add 18 and 18, 10 and 10 is 20. 8 and 8 is 16. 20 and 16 is going to be 36. Okay? Now, the next part tells me I have 8 rows with 3 in each row. So the way they took this apart, this 8 apart, was 2 rows right here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. And that's going to be here in that first, they've already given me my first factor here. Now I need to figure out what that first factor is going to be here for this piece right there. So that's going to be 6. Each one of my rows has 3 in each row. So that is going to be my second factor here, and it's going to be my second factor here, because the second factors should be the number of objects in each row. So if I take 2 times 3, that's going to give me 6, and 6 times 3 is going to give me 18, then I'm going to add those together, and that's going to give me 24 square units. Same thing for number 4. They've torn it apart already for us. So you count the rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's your first factor here. Pretend that they took the top off of here and put it to the side here. That's where they're getting that 7 rows. So if I were to take this and put it back on top, there would be 7 rows with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in each row. So 7 rows with 7 in each row. Oops. And when I see how they took it apart as 3 rows and 4 rows. And those are going to be my first factors here for the two equations. So I have 3 rows of 7 here, and I have 4 rows of 7 here. And 3 times 7 is 21, so there's 21 squares here. And 4 times 7 is 28, because 7 plus 7 is 14. And another 7 plus 7 is 14. And when I add these together, 7 times 7 is going to be 20, and 20 is 40, and 8 and 1 is 9. Now, this next one is asking you for the larger array. So if you take the 2 smaller arrays and put them together as one large array, then you should be able to find the large multiplication sentence that would go with the entire larger array. It says larger array here. So it says Tony broke up a larger array into 2 times 9, 2 rows of 9, and 4 rows of 9. What did the larger array look like? Draw a picture and write a number sentence to show the relationship. Relationship means how they fit together between the large array and the 2 smaller arrays. So how does the 2 smaller arrays fit together with the large array? So I'm just going to real quickly say that I have 2 rows with 9 in each row. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then that's going to give me 18. But that's not what they're asking me for. So they're just asking me what's going to be the larger array. So I have 4 rows and 9 in each row. So Miss Badger's in here badgering me. Can you hear her giggling? She's having fun with me. All right, so it's a lot of drawing, right, guys? And I'm hoping I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oops, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, there's Miss Badger. Now, these are my 2 rows of 9. Which is going to be 18. And actually, let me go ahead and label that equation. This is my 2 times 9, and this is my 4 times 9. And how many rows do I have for the larger array? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I get that from the 2 rows here and the 4 rows here. So I have 6 rows with 9 in each row for the large array. So that would be number 5. And number 6 is asking me for my missing rows here. So if I have 7 rows with 5 in each row, there's 2 rows here. What's left after I break up this 7 as 2 and what? 2 rows and how many more rows? If you said 5 rows and 2 rows, you'd be correct. So 5 rows and 2 rows is going to make up the 7 rows. So I'd have 5 rows of 5 and 2 rows of 5. And notice that my second factor stays with the same number in each row. So I'm showing it right here. Those are the same amount in each row. 5, so 5 stays 5. All right, I hope this helps you. Olivia and anybody else that is going to be watching this video, I'm going to put it in our YouTube channel. So just in case you want to watch it again, you're more than welcome to take a look at it again. See you soon and have a great weekend.